Hello guys, so we're back to work on the old 48 Silver King. I don't really know what this video is all going to entail. I want to get radiator going. I want to get a lot of the engine back together. The air cleaner assembly needs to be modified, welded, cleaned up, put back on. Distributor, generator, carburetor, all kinds of little things. The battery box can go back in. So we are just going to focus on all these little things, all these little parts and pieces that are taking up an entire table over there, and see if we can make some progress there. The first thing I'm doing is I'm working on the radiator. Now you may recall, yes, there will be a quiz at the end of this. Not really. Maybe. When I took this apart, we had some heavy, I don't know, 1/2x3, 1/2x4 pieces of iron coming up along each side of the radiator, and that's what holds it in, essentially, in place. And they get bolted to these two holes here. I liked the radiator framework on the donor part tractor. It has extra reinforcement. So that's what I'm going to clean up and reuse. But we've got to get the radiator out of it to begin with. So here's our donor tractor radiator, and this thing was indeed holding water. There's an issue here I think we're going to take care of, but I am so glad we have a good one. If I was to have to replace this, that would not be a fun task. But you see we have a series of holes all the way along here, and the top three, I believe, are what the hood bolts to, and then the rest, the grill catches as well. And so basically you have through bolts, you have a cage nut, or nuts basically welded on the inside down in here of the radiator frame. And so your bolts are attaching the grill and the hood through the frame into the radiator. That's going to be fun to line up when we're going back together. But anyway, several bolts broke trying to take this apart from the other tractor, so I'm going to start drilling those out, see if I can get these pieces separated, and then we're going to clean up our radiator. Oh, but I really like this because we have, this was not in place on the Tornado tractor. Whether this is original to the factory or not, it's got silver paint on it. I can only assume it is. Maybe one of you guys know better, but I really wanted to retain that. Now I'm going to be working a while on trying to get the broken ends out of the radiator, just using some PB blaster and the propane torch here. Not too excited about using a real torch here, heating the radiator up that much. I don't need to start flowing solder out of places I don't want it to flow out of, you know. So I'm just going to work with it a while. If I end up having to grind them down smooth, center punch them, drill them out, retap threads, the guy's got to do what he's got to do. So, but if they can be convinced to come out a little easier than that, then that's what we'll do. the juice and torch method is not, it's not producing any fruit here, you know, so we're gonna stop heating it up so much, and we're just gonna deal with it the other way. Cow, these are good drill bits. Well, the guy just flat needs an easy out. Or something. I have no doubt there's something around this shop that would work. I just haven't come across it yet. There's got to be easy outs somewhere, but you know how easy outs are. Most of them, they break. And anyway, so whether I get back to that today or leave it till tomorrow, I don't know. We'll find out. Now, this radiator was holding water. But when we turned it upside down, I noticed that we had possibly a slight concern. We got a lot of corrosion and looks like leakage from an old, perhaps an old patch. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to melt it out, the old solder, take the patch off, see what's going on, and hopefully all I end up having to do is just re-tin it and re-solder the piece back on after it's clean. And hopefully it'll hold water once again. I don't know, but you know, I don't really want it going out the door with the possibility of a leak right away. There is an acute lack of progress happening over there on the radiator. Sorry to break it up, but I'm just bringing you along for the progress. What I do is what I do in the order I do it, you know. Like I said, I need easy outs. I was going to pressure test it because there's a possible leak, old repair on the bottom, and I wanted to go through that with you, but I can't put anything together to pressure test it here. I need to get some plumbing pieces and so on and so forth. So I want to run home and see if I have what it takes. If I don't, I'll go spend $50 at the hardware store, you know, just to test the radiator. You know how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to turn my attention to our air cleaner assembly. Now this is the one obviously off the Tornado tractor. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use this air cleaner from the Tornado tractor. We're going to cut it off here, and I'm going to do that because our donor one is actually all messed up and it's been brazed and it's all wrinkled. The skin is looking like Methuselah's forehead, you know, it's all wrinkled up and so forth. And this one is actually quite dirty, having never been cleaned out, and this one is pristine on the inside. So I am going to remove the coil. We will probably remove bright shiny hardware and deal with that because there's no place for bright shiny hardware on a restoration of an antique tractor. Then I'm going to harvest the little braces here that go to the head bolts, and we will swap those over to here like they should have been from the beginning. But first we are going to replace our standpipe. Now this is made like stovepipe basically. It's rolled from a flat sheet and you just got a hook on each end and you slip them together just like a piece of wood burning stovepipe. There's no sense in trying to track that down, so I just got the appropriate, whatever this is, 2-inch piece of exhaust pipe. I expanded the top end just a little tiny bit to accept our cap, and we're going to weld that on. We got to do one of these one-eyed lineup jobs, you know. Well, there we go. Welded on, hit it with the die grinder a little bit, cleaned it up even a little more with the rat tail. We'll swipe her around with our finger with some body filler, you know, before we throw some paint on it, just to get rid of the scratches and the work marks and all that. But otherwise, it's going to be A-OK. Moving on. You guys hear sounds like the rending of large trees and tractors flying across the horizon. Don't worry about it. It's just the wind. Everything's A-OK. Oh yeah, I can adjust this and fill it. All right. I think my Band-Aid's flapping in the breeze as well. Well, things just took a turn for the legendary, I'm going to tell you. I wanted a way to test our radiator, whether or not it's going to leak on us, you know. So I went down to the Ace Hardware and found some parts to put together a professional testing unit. So we got that going on. I also found some stuff around here, some stuff around home. You know, we just put it together in one ball of awesomeness. Then I wanted to go get one of those little kiddie wading pools, you know, the bright pink ones with the morbidly obese seahorses and penguins and Saskatchewans on them, or whatever it is. You know the kind. It was bought for a 3-year-old, but their 40-year-old overweight dad ends up just sitting in it in the backyard. At least the neighborhood hopes it's the backyard. Anyway, I ended up having to use this little garden cart. Looks like a Mack garbage truck ran over it a few times. Found some plastic here, threw it in, filled it with water. We're good to go. So I'm going to go get some air pressure, bring you in closer, and we'll take a look at just how bad this thing is leaking. Okay, well, so far I know our old-time radiator cap is very bad. It keeps bubbling over there. That's to be expected, not surprised at all. But basically all I have going on here, I have a needle valve which is very adjustable, a very finely adjustable valve, 1/8-inch pipe. Then I got a gauge that only goes up to 30, so we can really, you know, meter how little air we're putting into this, because we don't want much. And then the rest is obvious. We just, you know, went from one opening to the other. I put my drain back in from the Tornado tractor. The donor tractor just had a bolt shoved up the drain hole, which is uncomfortable at best. So, oh my, that radiator cap, I might have to come up with another solution there. Yeah, there's no way I can tell what's going on with that happening. What do you think? Are many plies of a cheap garbage bag going to be strong enough? All I need is a few pounds in this thing, you know. Just a few pounds. Somehow I don't think that's going to seal. I mean, it's far better. The spots that I was concerned about, I'm not seeing anything from. Down in here, or down around the outlet neck. I'm not seeing any constant bubbles from the cores, from the bottom tank. We've got a bubble going on here from the drain, which is part of the cap problem. I'm not seeing any bubbles from the top tank anywhere along where it would be soldered. Down along the edges. I can't just go grab a, well, maybe I can. Let me go compare this with another cap. It looks so much bigger, but maybe it's just the outside dimensions. Okay, the difficulty in the radiator cap is this original style has an internal tabs, much like a gas cap, whereas your typical radiator cap has external tabs on the outside diameter. So it's just kind of opposite. I'm going to try to put this, I bought this brand new gas cap for this tractor, and I will see if that is the same size. We still have pressure? No, we're good. Well, I didn't want to do that. Okay. Well, it goes on there anyway. Okay, let's give her a pound or two. Oh yeah, just rolling out of there. Ha! Well guys, what would you say? I mean, when I had the trash bag on there, I was seeing no leaks except for the filler neck. I'm pretty confident that we can just slap her back on there. I'll clean up our little patch area there and stuff, but otherwise I really think we can run with it. So Good enough. Well, good morning, guys. So today I want to do as much as I can about reassembling all the small little pieces and parts for the engine, get them cleaned up, get them back on so that they're not just scattered throughout the shop. You can see I've got all those parts hanging. I painted last night in the paint booth there against the window. So we're going to start putting those on. I need to play around with my belt. The adjuster, I don't know if that's original or not. I kind of doubt that, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, between the two tractors, I have harvested, I believe I need 10 of these radiator clamps for both the cooling system and the air intake tube between the filter and the carburetor. I'd really like to retain these. That's just a nice little touch, you know. So I have media blasted and re-zinced 10 of them. Should be all I need. So we'll be taking a closer look at those as we go back together. But I think I'm going to start with the filler neck. So our parts donor tractor had no thermostat in it. This one did, but if you recall, the housing was completely shot, cracked in half, took a torpedo the night of the tornado, you know. So we got this off the donor tractor. I went into a local parts store and said, get me, well, I actually double checked the size here with the 235 parts for the 48 Chevy laying on the table over there. So I just went in and said, 1955 Chevy 235, I need a thermostat, 160 degree thermostat, and the gasket. And that's what we got. Fits perfect. So I'm going to goop up our brass here, get that on, see if we can get this all adjusted right, and we'll get this buttoned up here. I just want to dance the night away. Nope, literally never have. Where those do. Alright, I think I'll grab a utility knife and just trim the edge of that gasket just to make it look a little cleaner. No one will ever really pay attention to it ever again until it starts leaking one day again or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to do that. She is coming down out there. Praise the Lord Almighty, we need it. Now, if you guys have never tried black oxide on your fasteners, you're doing a restoration project of your own, it is a complete game changer, I'm telling you. Man, it's coming down. Woo! For the sake of the video, I'm going to throw this on now. I'm going to have to take some hardware home and do the black oxide on it as well. So I'll just cinch this down and replace one at a time when I get them refinished. What do you need? Half an inch here? Go. Guess I should really bring some of that stuff over here as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop a couple head nuts loose here. Thank you very much. Gonna make sure our bottom bolts will be in there when we need them for the air cleaner, so we'll put them in there now. Might be a little difficult to get to them later. I don't know why that one's so crooked. Just how it is, I guess. Alright, kind of cinch these down so that they are where they want to be. And now we're going to retorque our head. Torque the studs to 70 foot-pounds, so that'll be good to go. Throw our coil back on here. And that is that for now. I have 2 extra nuts that I finished in the black oxide that don't belong anywhere on that, so I'm wondering if I took the carburetor ones and just did them at the same time. You just keeping track of everything in this business can be a challenge, so I might as well switch those out, then we don't have to worry about it. Cool. These are spark plugs, are Delco's C87s. They would have been brand new when this thing was rebuilt the first time, and have literally had no hours run time on them. So I just cleaned them up, and we're just going to reinstall them. Save a little cash that way. Should be zero issues. We have no issues here. Big nappy hair on there. That's nice. Torque. 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 Oh. Torque. Alright, I'm not sure what all comes in that wiring harness kit. I assume it's a complete kit, and I will have little things like from the coil to the distributor in the armored wire, or at least in a braided wire. If not, I will definitely be replacing that. Get our distributor unwrapped here. Now I pulled number 1 plug back out because I wanted to recheck the timing, since we have messed with it and we moved the tires with it in gear, and so that moved the engine, right? So I have retimed it. Oh man, I did a good job on that. Anyway, got to play around with that and get that unmasked. I have retimed it number 1 top dead center, and then we just go off our notes that I left on the cap. The firing order, we'll get this thing set up here in a second. Okay. Looks like our rotor is going to point right past the nut there, which when I line our tape up with that, number 1 is right here, and that looks like our rotor is going to be right on the money as far as that goes. There was no grease in the grease cup, which I view as detrimental. And I'm wondering about a gasket. What do you guys think? Should this have had one? I'm not so sure it should. I mean, that thing is pretty well sealed. There's going to be no oil up in the head. I mean, oil would have to come up from a long ways to start coming out here. A guy could even put Permatex on there and make it, just to be safe. There is no adjustment. The timing is what it is, so I may just dab some Forma gasket around the edge there, just keep moisture out and oil in. I really don't think it'd be a problem, but we might do that just for fun. Here's a problem I'm dealing with right now. So right now the distributor's sitting straight on the flange there, on the head. When I tighten the bolt down, that's what happens. And when I take this off and look at it, you can see this tab is, I don't know if you'll be able to tell if I can line it up or not good enough, but I can tell the tab is tweaked. And I can see why it's doing it. It's just shimming it. Man, it's such a little bit. Yeah. To get some thin brass or something would be ideal. I've got this very thin fender washer, but it's too thick even. And I really only need it, I believe, on this side of the tab. Maybe a U-shaped piece along here, but anyway, I'll play with it a little longer. Obviously it was running the way it was, but I hate for it to wear, you know, so. Alright, we'll stuff some grease in here. Should have done this before I put it on, probably. No worries. There we go. See if we can save our bushings a little bit longer, huh? I'll give it a shot. I heard it punch through there into the bushing, so I'm going to unscrew it again. Top it off. A little too much, probably. Take up my oil can of shot. I mean, the one that I just found laying in piles of junk is shot. Something's bound up somewhere. So we'll just do it the screwdriver method here. I just want some oil on the felt in here, because that was dry as well. There we go. Okay, put our cover on, our rotor on, and our cap on. Perfect. Number 13 in the wiring harness kit, ignition coil to distributor. I knew they'd do it for us. We'll just pull that off. We've got a condition known as ruptured tube here. Never a good thing. Ew. Some grease going on all our ignition points here. That terminal's loose. I better tighten that. Better check them all with the pliers. Get all this going. Might as well fight some corrosion here. Gotta say, for my first and only experience with Brillman, the Brillman company, pretty impressed so far, you know. Everything's got stickers that it's made in the US, which I like, which we need to see a whole lot more of once again. Alright, got our coil. What would be the farthest away? 1 and 4 seem, everything seems pretty symmetrical, and I'm guessing they are as far as the wires too. Yeah, this one seems just a little bit, so we go 1, 3, 4, so this 4, I mean, it all still seems pretty symmetrical. I'll put the longest one on 1. And just see how we get along here. One and 3. How about I do it with both hands and just stop horsing around here. One and 3 and 4. und zwei. Zwei. You Schweinhund, zwei. Okay. I'm going to slide this back and redo that one. I think I got that backwards. Here she goes. There. Now tell me the truth and just be as honest as you can be. Do you prefer factory correct or the Ford Tempo look? You know, come on. It's okay if you like the Ford Tempos. Just leave it on the Ford Tempos, you know? Alright, cool. We got a message from beyond the grave. Okay, maybe not the grave, but Woody signed the starter at some point in the past. Just done a token refreshing of the starter from the outside. Got her looking slick again, you know, so I'm going to throw that on and move on to what's next. Okay, I brought some good taps, but I don't want to make Fred Astaire jealous, so I may not use them. I brought a set of easy outs with the left-hand drill bits, the kind I don't really, the spiral kind I don't really like. I brought one of my small easy outs, the kind of the square cornered or the cross shaped straight fluted, you know the type. That's the type I like. But these dudes are stuck. Wow. And this all being on 10, I'm not really getting a good bite on it. Time comes, you gotta stop messing around and just get it done, right? I'm afraid of too much heat on a radiator. I don't want to mess that up, but I'm just drilling and easy outs and so forth. It's just not working, so go as easy as I can here. I think we're getting one finally. There we go. Tap through here. Perfect. Well, guys, I'm going to have to go ahead and let some of you down. I'm sure some of you at least will be disappointed in me, and I'm going to take the easy road, I have decided. But, hey, I'm doing this, not you, right? So, go get a life. Whatever. I'm sorry if I offend you. The land of the free and the home of the easily offended. Okay, so what is going on here is everything on this radiator has been soldered together. The fan shroud to the side and the square nuts are actually soldered inside the side as well. That is why I was seeing so much solder dripping down when I was heating up the broken off threads. Is basically the thing that holds the nut in place, which I needed to be held in place, was melting, because I had to remove the broken off threads, you know. And what they did, they kind of machined or formed or turned down square nuts into a specialized nut with a round standoff, and I'll show you those in a second here, but two of them are messed up. One, the bolt threads, I'm still struggling to get out, and I don't think the nut is going to be square anymore by the time I'm done with it. And one on the other side, the broken off bolt, there's still a thin sliver, a thin crescent of broken off bolt on one side, and it made, I got a tap to go through it, but it did not remove the old part, so it formed a false thread out of the broken off piece, and it offset the hole, which is really going to be a pain. You know, that's the kind of thing that just makes reassembly difficult, right? When you have one hole that didn't get back where it's supposed to be. So I am gonna cop out and do the easy thing. I went to that one place you know well that I really try to avoid buying tools from, but that's a whole nother story in itself. But I got one of these thread cert or nut cert or whatever you want to call it kits. They do have 5/16 in the kit, which is what I needed, and you will never see it again. You know, it should be fine, unless the little mouse in your pocket crawls out and climbs up in there and takes a look at what I did and goes back and whispers it in your ear. No one will ever know. So I just put this dude on here, do I? And tighten this up like so, do I? Oh, cow. Phi Master time, I guess. Okay. Retighten. Oh. I don't think that's good for my ear. But anyway, I think it's tight. Okay. This is a Modine Manufacturing Company, Racine, Wisconsin, USA radiator. Very, very nice original radiator yet. I carted it outside. I blew water through all the coils. You should have seen the black water was rolling, you know. It was disgusting what was coming out of those coils. But overall, very nice original radiator. Well, our spinning wire wheel of wonders has revealed many wondrous things. It's really no surprise now why I could not get a cap to seal up, right? But that's good. It explains something here. We've got quite a few issues to work through. We got a K-shaped crack going on there. We got a little slot right there. I'm not sure you can see that. There's kind of a superficial line there. Don't know if that's could even be from the manufacturer originally and not be a problem. And we have another one such right there. So I guess it is soldering time after all. I'm not even going to try to mess with that brass at all other than just heat it up. I'm going to try to flush it out with flux, tin it, solder it, and hopefully we can get something to work. I do have a Radiator guy, if he's still going. He runs a welding shop, kind of a small fabrication shop, but he's over 2 hours away, and he only does radiators when he has a pile of them to do. If I can do this myself, that would be the preferable thing here. So, and I suppose once I do it, a guy really needs to retest it. So we'll get into all that. Okay, we got a couple PSI here, and I could go higher, but there's really no point. We're certainly getting a lot of bubbles from under the cap. That K-shaped one, that seems to be sealed. We got a line there. I should probably get a marker or something. But one of those lines there that I said from the beginning, that's leaking there. I have not tried to solder that yet. And this line here, you know, they look superficial, but they're definitely cracks. That one's leaking there. I fixed this little one. And indeed, I did fix it. So, those two superficial lines yet, we'll solder up. And I don't know. I can get antique tractor caps that say water, and they're taller, and I think they're probably what I need. I think this should seal. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'll try another cap some point. And I was nervous about creating leaks where the neck is soldered to the top tank here, but I don't think I did. Looks okay so far. Stop it. This thing is flirting with disaster here. You're going in the junk pile. Alright, so you can ignore the bubbles from under the cap, obviously, but we got none popping out there at us. We got none popping out there at us. This big K, we got none popping there. This other one that I thought was superficial, none popping there. Oh, what's that? Right down there, maybe. Sorry. They really need to put the camera lens on phones right in the center of the phone, you know. There may be something just tiny right down there at the base. So I will take care of that. Otherwise, I think we got it. So I'm just back from dinner time, ran my Heinezitta downtown, you know, down to the parts store to visit the crusty crew. I bought them out what they had left over standing in the corner of 1 3/4 exhaust pipe. Cut off 18 inches of it, and I'm going to use it here. Kind of going back and forth on what I want to do exactly. So this used to be here, and that's the height of our... obviously the height of our hood, you know, on the old thing. So what I'm going to do is, I already ground out the welds there. I'm going to knock this old 1 3/4 pipe out of that fitting, weld this new piece back in. That'll give me the old height to where the muffler used to be up to, right there. And then I need to decide what I'm going to do. But we'll get to that once I've got this replaced. Okay, out with the old and in with the new pipe. Got that all welded up nice. And I take it the way that it was before. Everything was just solid connection maybe. And to take the hood off, you of course had to take the muffler off. And there were a lot of pipe wrench marks on this coupler here, or whatever, connector, female connector, whatever you want to call it. And so you just turn the whole exhaust assembly, you know, and take it off that way. I've got some decisions to make. I'm certainly, nothing is set in stone as far as height is concerned until the hood is on and we see what it looks like. So I don't think you can even see the top of it at the moment. Almost. I mean, it's just going way, just up and up, you know. That certainly may get cut down a little bit, but I do know that this pipe is the same length as it was beforehand. You know, that hood, you got the gas tank here, probably about 10 inches. So I mean, that hood is right here. And however much off the top of the muffler we want, of course, we'll adjust that. But that ought to work. Okay, as a little reward, as Mr. Haney would say, for just working so darn hard, you know, give ourselves a little treat, and also to confirm the fact that I haven't messed things up too badly, we are going to confirm that it still runs. I've got my IV bottle up there on the stand. The bowl should probably be filled, and that's about it. Neutralis. Oh yeah. I think we ran out of fuel, but sounds good. Alright, well there we go, guys. We got her up and running again, tested her out. It sounded pretty good. I hope you enjoyed that little treat, you know. I actually took a little bit of footage on my phone there. I'll send it to the owner tonight. He was plumb excited. I sent him a picture last week when we rolled this out on its wheels. I took a picture of it and sent it to him. He was really excited, and so this ought to just fire him up even more, you know. You got to keep your customers interested, you know. Keep them excited, right? Anyway, like I say, I just threw the radiator on there and the muffler on there. We'll take those back off. We've got a lot of sheet metal to straighten out, refinish, so on and so forth. The step plate, I've got parts cut out on the water jet from Dad-in-law's. I've got all my materials I need otherwise. So next week we will be working on that, and I'll bring you along. We got to do some things like, I only have one headlight mount, so we're gonna have to come up with a way to form a copy of that, and yeah, we'll figure it out. But otherwise, this is how it's going in it. I think it's going and looking pretty good. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. I hope you're enjoying this project as much as I am. I'm really getting a kick out of it. So we were going to try to keep our momentum going. So I'm going to turn this off and keep doing that. And we will see you on the next one. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.